Hello, welcome to cEDH Budget Brews. I'm Tim, and tonight, continuing our series of beginner cEDH Meta Busters, we're going to discuss Elder Drunken Highlanders, Brallin Shabraz, Curiosity. But before we get started, please check out our Discord and our Patreon. Links are in the description below. And if you like our content, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out a lot. Thanks. All right, let's get started. Brallin Shabraz is a Jeskai, kind of a Curiosity and Breach combo deck. Brallin is the main focus of the commander-based combo, in that it's a 3/3 for 1 red, 1 colorless. Partners with Shabraz. We'll go over that in a second. Brallin, whenever you has a triggered ability of whenever you discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Brallin, Sky Shark Rider, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. And then it has an activated ability of target shark gains trample till end of turn. Shabraz, which is mostly here for colors, to be honest, is a 3/3 for 1 white, 1 blue, 3 colorless. It's a shark bird, partners with Brallin, and has flying. Whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on Shabraz, the Sky Shark, and you gain a life. And then it has a activated ability of an Azorius, which is a white/blue, and then target human gains flying till end of turn. Ironically, the flying ability is kind of useful if you're in more of a, can be useful in like combat, because you can give things like your hate bears like Drannith Magistrate flying, Ranger Captain of Eos, but I digress. So the main kind of commander combo with this is going to be with Curiosity, is a 1 blue enchantment, enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. So basically the way this works is you discard a card with Brallin, it'll ping each opponent for 1. You'll get 3 draw triggers, most of the time putting you over 7. Then you get a second discard phase, like another, then you go to discard again, discard down to 7. Then each card you discard pings each opponent. You get 3 more draw triggers, rinse, repeat till everybody's dead. And as long as you have more cards in your library than opponents have life, it generally works out that you will be able to kill everybody. There's like some weird corner cases because of the way that the discard, the pings, like the draw triggers stack, that you can kind of get in a weird spot sometimes, but that math is very narrow. The main way that this deck actually is going to win is with Underworld Breach. So Underworld Breach, if you've been living under a rock, is a red enchantment for 1 red, 1 colorless. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. Escape cost is equal to the card's converted mana cost plus 3 cards. Plus you need to exile 3 cards from the graveyard. So if you have a 1 mana spell, you have to exile 3 cards and pay 1, is how it works. So the main way you're going to win the game with Breach is you're going to use LED to generate mana. So it's a 0, Lion's Eye Diamond is a 0 mana artifact that has an activated ability of discard your hand, make 3 mana of any color. And then you just exile 3 cards, recast it, make 3 more mana, rinse, repeat. And then you're going to play Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze will allow you to mill yourself for 1 blue, 1 colorless, and then has Storm. So each spell that you've cast before that Storm trigger resolves in the turn will generate a copy of Brain Freeze. So if you've cast Underworld Breach, Brain Freeze, or Underworld Breach, then an LED, then a Brain Freeze from the yard, just as an example, you'll generate 2 Storm triggers plus the Brain Freeze, so you'll mill 9 cards. Then you replay the LED again. Now you got 4 mana in pool. Recast the Brain Freeze. Now you get like 12 cards, and then 20, and then so on and so forth till you self-mill yourself, and you can even mill out all your opponents if you want. Or you can play your Curiosity, or you can put like some draw triggers on the stack with like a Wheel of Fortune, as long as you have more cards in your library than your opponents, like that kind of stuff. And then that'll be a way for you to kind of kill all of your opponents. One thing of note, that since you're in Jeskai, you have access to a pretty sweet intuition pile where you get Lion's Eye Diamond, Underworld Breach, and Reclamation, Savine's Reclamation. That pile will allow you to assemble Breach off of 1 tutor. So that's kind of a nice one to kind of be able to get, because one of the first things you'll do once you get Breach into play is recast the intuition to get the brain freeze and some other cards. You can also use stuff like Ghostly Pilferer to help trigger Brallin as well with Curiosity, so you don't have to wait to go to end step. And then since you're in Jeskai, you've got really good a robust interaction package, right? You can play things like Abrade, Deflecting Swat, Fierce Guardianship, Delay, which is arguably right now in my mind the best 2-mana counterspell in Commander, because it'll answer creatures and non-creatures, and then since it's not double blue, it's real easy to cast. And 3 turns is forever. Like if you're countering their big game-winning spell on turn 3, like they're not going to have access to that again until turn 6, and most of the time the game's going to be over by then. You can also play like Force of Will, Mindbreak Trap, and you get access to really cool stuff like Source of Plowshares as well. You could play Lightning Bolt as another one. Like, you just have like a really good interaction suite. And then kind of some notable cards are some very cheap, like Careful Study effects, which is like draw whatever and then discard whatever. Like Burning Inquiry is one where you draw 3, where each player draws 3 and then discards 3 cards at random. So not only will that trigger Brallin, but it will also kind of disrupt your opponent's hands as well, preventing them from sculpting because they have to discard 3 cards at random and they don't get to choose. Faithless Looting is just another one that'll trigger Brallin. You draw 2, discard 2, but then you can flash it back. And then Frantic Search is another one where it allows you to trigger Brallin, but then it also allows you to untap your lands. Those are just kind of some cards of note. But really the big thing with this deck is that you're going to leverage Breach most of the time. So you'll kind of start out controlling the game early, and then, well, this deck is fast. It is definitely not the fastest deck. I mean, it's not like it's Rock Silas or something, or like Najeela. It's definitely like a little more paced like Blue Farm is, where you're able to kind of, you want to control the first couple of turns and then mid game kind of deploy your win, like in that turn like 3 to 5. And then worst case scenario, you can beat people down with a big old shark because you draw 1 card per turn. So the shark gets bigger every turn. And that's not counting if you play things like Careful Study, or, I mean, if you have both your commanders in play and you play a Faithless Looting, they both get +2/+2. You ping everybody for 2, you gain 2 life. Like that's the floor for these guys. That's not the ceiling. Like that's not a bad. They're both pretty easily castable. They both cast pretty well off Jeweled Lotus, amongst other things, and you have access to a really good storm package. The only thing not having black, obviously you don't have Oracle, but you have other ways. You kind of make up for it in other ways, and it gives you kind of a nice, just a nice, like, they're not the standard partners. Like I definitely wouldn't consider this like the main Jessica deck to play. I think this is a good one to learn on because it's a little bit outside of the norm, but you still have all of the same kind of clean win con packages that you would get in these colors. Plus you get the added bonus of being able to leverage combat very effectively. This one's going to be a little bit shorter just because the deck pretty much speaks for itself. I think the biggest trick with this deck is not overextending early and then being able to make it to that mid game. That's kind of something of note. That's why you're playing things like Mindbreak Trap, Force of Will, Force of Negation. Playing a lot of free interaction. So you want to kind of power out Brallin early and then protect it, as well as being able to interact with your opponents. So if you got any questions or comments, please leave them below. And everybody have a good night.